Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Alex and welcome to TechFlow. So over the last few years, I've been investigating smart homes. I've talked to professionals and I've also been building my own smart home. And I've been in my new house now for 3 months, so I've wanted to get something up and running, which has meant it's needed to be easy, it's needed to do the job, and it's needed to not be messy. Smart homes can get very messy very quickly. So today, I want to talk you through what I've got set up here, what I can do with it, whether it's multi-room audio, security, control of all my lighting, and how it helps me. And one thing that people always say to me is that, Alex, you've got all these gadgets in your house, surely your electric bill is through the roof. And to be honest with you, it couldn't be further from the truth. My house is very economical, shall we say, and that's because of the smart things I have in place. So without any further ado, let's jump straight into this. So one thing that I've found over the years, to have a functioning smart home network in your house that doesn't always go offline, it's important to have a solid backbone. Now what do I mean by that? Well, the infrastructure that runs around your house, and that's things like the Wi-Fi and the network. So this is my sort of temporary / permanent setup at the moment. You can see I've got my router here, I've got my modem, I've got my NAS, which is some internal storage for this house, and then I've got one massive network switch here, which basically goes off to 4 different access points around the house and all of my external security cameras. All of these security cameras record in 4K and are recorded internally to this UDM Pro, so nothing is leaving my house, which I really like. The other things that I've got here is these 2 bridges. This is my Philips Hue bridge, and then just over here we've got my Aqara gateway. As you can see, these are really small and are hardwired into the network. The only other things I've really got up here are these Vessel streamers. So just remember that, Vessel streamers, Aqara gateway and Philips Hue hub. And that is basically it, as well as obviously the Wi-Fi access points that go all around the house. That is the backbone of my smart home. Now obviously I've got other smart home manufacturers around this house, like LifeX Lights for example, and that swiftly moves us on to how do we tie all of this stuff together. And one thing that I have really been liking recently, and it's something that I never ever thought I would say, is Apple's HomeKit. Now everything that I'm going to go over in this video does work over on the Google side of things, but just know that I am doing everything through HomeKit. And if you've got an iPhone or an iDevice, it really is worth taking a look at, and in this video I'll show you why. What I want to be able to do though is play music in any room that I'm in, and it's an added bonus if I can join them all together, and luckily enough I can with AirPlay. So you remember those Vessel streamers, those little black boxes that are set up in the loft? Those are connected into my kitchen speakers here. These are a set of really thin KEF speakers because I had nowhere else to place speakers in this room. Now those Vessel units are compatible with AirPlay and Spotify Connect. So as you can see, I'm in the Spotify app here and I can connect to kitchen here via the Spotify app, click play, and this starts playing out the speakers. This is basically where AirPlay 2 comes in. So I'm going to swipe into Control Center and you can see here on my iPhone that I have access to all of my rooms again. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is select on kitchen here, it'll circle round, and there we go. And I click on here, raised platform. What it's going to go ahead and do is create an audio group, and now I can control the volume in here and the volume in the kitchen. Now the speakers in here are the other Vessel streamer that I currently have up there in the loft. However, I do have these KLKs on my desk with my MacBook connected. So because this is through AirPlay, my MacBook Pro is actually an end device. So I can add it into this speaker group here, and as you can see, now these are playing the same as these and the same as what's in the kitchen. Multi-room audio with different end devices. Now, when the majority of people say multi-room audio, the first people you think of is Sonos. And yes, I do like Sonos. They have a soft spot in my heart, and in my upstairs shower, we have a Sonos speaker above there. But luckily enough, it works with AirPlay, so the tracks that are playing all over the house also play up here. All I've got to do is turn it up. And there you go. The Sonos speaker up there is synced with the rest of the house through AirPlay, and it's a Sonos speaker working with non-Sonos speakers. You get the point? So next, In our smart home journey, we need to talk about security because it's really, really important and actually quite easy to implement. So this is a little nifty thing that I've recently installed. This is called the EasyViz CP4 and it's a peephole camera. So basically my front door used to have basically a little glass hole in it. You'd have to put your eye all the way up to it and it was really kind of foggy and it was like getting loads of condensation. It was getting loads of condensation in it so you couldn't see through it. Now this is basically a techie peephole. So you've got on the other side of this door an actual camera system with a doorbell ringer in it, and then on this side it's a full display. Now one of the most awkward things is having somebody on the other side of the door whilst you're creepily coming up to the door trying to see who's there. If somebody has rung the doorbell and somebody's there, this screen will automatically be on, so from a distance you can see what's on the other side of the door, which is something that I didn't think I would like, but I really kind of like. So it's basically a full 1080p colour camera on the outside, and one thing that I really liked was how just responsive this touchscreen interface is. You can go back and check through the days, upgrade your firmware, connect it to your Wi-Fi, so obviously you can get notified when somebody is at your door. It has AI detection and loads of other features like that. One of the most annoying things with something like this on the front door is getting false alarms, let's say if like a bird flies past or something. So the CP4 actually has a human shape algorithm and a PIR sensor to mitigate all of these false alarms that can come with having something like this at the front door. So you know when it rings that somebody is there. And the cool thing I like about it is that this door is from 1890 and I've managed to bring it in to the 21st century about half an hour with this peephole kit. So moving on from security, I've actually got wireless PIR sensors in pretty much every single room. And these serve multiple purposes, whether it's to turn lights on and off, whether I'm in that room and turn them off if I leave, or basically for security. So with the Akari gateway, what I can go ahead and do is alarm my house. So within Apple's HomeKit, I can change this to nighttime, which will only arm my downstairs sensors. I can change this to away, and all of my sensors will be armed. And basically with this mode, what it's going to go ahead and do is if any of the motion sensors in this house detect motion, it will ping me straight through to my phone if it's armed as away. These are wireless, powered by battery, and they are really, really small, so you can hide them in places that you wouldn't even think. I wanted all of this to be easy. Okay, so let's move from security over to lighting because it's another big part of a smart home. Now you will have noticed the Philips Hue hub that I had over in my temporary network setup. Now I do like Philips Hue, and yes, there's videos of me online sitting on Philips Hue. I do like them, I think their products are good and they work, and that's why I install them in the main rooms in my house. This is my master bedroom. Now there's no point in having smart lighting if it's difficult to control, right? So you've got to go on your phone and download an app. So the reason why I like the Hue is because you can buy their little controllers. I've got one right here which is right next to the door, and believe it or not, this is a Philips Hue button, does the exact same thing, controls the lights. So when there's people that aren't me in this room, they can control the lights, and that's why I like Hue, because of these things, control devices. The lights are a bit naff. Now, lighting is all well and good, Philips Hue. If all of the lights in that room are Philips Hue, they can be controlled with the Philips Hue controller, great. But what if you've got a situation like in my kitchen or in my studio through there, where I've got a mixture of different lights from different manufacturers? This is where smart homes become complicated when they shouldn't be. Now, how are we going to turn our Philips Hue lights on at the same time as our LifeX lights? Now, my remedy for this is HomeKit. Because LifeX and Hue can both talk to HomeKit, if HomeKit creates a scene that turns both of the Hue and the LifeX lights on, we are on to a winner. So this is my wireless switch. So this talks to the Akara bridge, which talks to HomeKit, which can then tell the lights from the different manufacturers to turn on. So, for example, under my counter, I have a Philips Hue strip, and behind the cactus, I've got a LifeX strip. So if I click on Kitchen Bright here, what that's going to go ahead and do is tell HomeKit to turn on the Hue lights and the LifeX lights, all from the one switch. And obviously, if I click that, they're going to go off again. Simple. Now, I'm not sure if you've seen the TikToks about there where it's like, we don't use
the big light.
I very rarely use the big light because it's kind of jarring. But in the places that I do and I want to control these big lights, I've used these Aqara switches. Again, these talk to HomeKit, so I can control this light switch from my home through the Apple Home app, or I've actually bound it to one of the buttons on this wireless controller. So hallway, dining room spotlights, hold to turn them off. There you go, wireless switch for the big lights. So let's talk about how this smart home is saving me money, because if something can help you out and save you money at the same time, why wouldn't you do it? So this is my studio desk. There's a lot of things going on here, even though it seems very minimalist. However, nothing on this desk is currently powered, and that's because this entire desk is powered by one power strip, which goes to a Philips Hue smart socket. So as I approach my desk, I have this little wireless Aqara button here. I click this, it's going to go ahead and turn on that smart plug which powers up my entire desk. How does this save me money? Well, basically, if I didn't have a smart plug there, this desk would be on constantly. And yes, obviously I would turn off this TV, but it's still sat there on standby, sipping power. So I can basically cut the entire power to this desk with this little remote. And there's scenes as well. How do you tie scenes into this? So scenes are really powerful, and I've got a few set up inside of HomeKit. But to have all of this stuff accessible inside of HomeKit, you need to basically have smart plugs on everything. And that's basically what I've done. My gaming desk upstairs runs to a single plug, and it's connected to a smart plug, so I can turn everything off. All of the TVs in the house have smart plugs on them because I don't want them sat there in standby if I'm not here. So basically I've set up a scene in my HomeKit, and if I say Eco House, it cuts the power to everything. And when I say cuts the power, I really do mean cuts the power, because it's basically turning off all the smart plugs in the house. That's all the TVs. This house is using very little, if any, energy at all, because everything is turned off at the plug. So this makes more sense. What I thought I'd do is I'd jump into HomeKit here and show you my Eco House scene. So as you can see, when I say Eco House, it turns off all the garage lights, it turns off all the hallway lights, turns off all the kitchen lights, it turns off all the lights. Basically, I could go through this forever. This is the bit that I need to talk about, sockets. So Loft AV, this is a single smart plug that controls 3 different TVs in my house, all of the audio gear that's up there, all of my Apple TVs, games consoles are completely cut from the grid and from power, so nothing, even when it's sat in standby, is sipping power. Studio desk, like I mentioned, is this desk, so the speakers, my MacBook dock, everything that would just be sat on here, idle, sipping power, and then I've got a subwoofer in the kitchen, which I'm sure is sipping power even when I'm not playing any music. So with that one command, Eco House, as I'm leaving in the car, for example, in a rush, I can just say that, it turns off all the lights, turns off everything, saves me money, and this scene also runs at 3 a.m. every day. So should I go to bed and not say Eco House, at 3 a.m. it'll Eco House itself. Just does it by itself, because it's a smart house. And that's how it's meant to be. Hey Siri, kitchen lights on. So as you can see, it all also works with voice assistants. However, I find myself using them few and far between because I just think they're a little bit naff. However, it does come in handy sometimes if you just want to change the color of something or turn something on and off. Now, one last thing that ties in with security that I didn't mention about is all of the doors in this room have sensors on them. So if you have a look up here, I actually painted this one black, but this is basically just a little wireless contact sensor. And again, this works with HomeKit, works with the Aqara gateway, and sends me notifications directly to my phone if the alarm is set, if the door opens. If the alarm isn't set, it doesn't send me a notification. But yeah, there you guys have it. That is sort of my temporary but semi-permanent smart home setup. Basically, I've installed all of the things that I deem necessary, and I just wanted it to be simple, wanted it to work, didn't want to run loads of wires, and I've been really, really happy with it. EasyViz did send out this sensor kit, which works in a very similar way to the kit I have deployed in this house from Aqara. You've got things like a button here, and this sensor looks absolutely awesome. It's magnetic here, like that. And then there's your little motion sensor. So if you guys want to see a more in-depth video on this sensor kit, then let us know. You've even got a door sensor there, which seems awesome too. One last thing to mention as well is I do my lighting via motion sensors in this house. For example, my garden lights only come on if somebody is in this kitchen, and that's because you can only see the garden when you're in the kitchen. So what's the point in having the garden lights on if you're not in here burning through your electricity bill? They should only come on for 5 minutes when you're in the kitchen, and then when you leave again they turn off. So yeah, it's just about thinking of automations and how you can make one sensor do something to maybe save you money or make your life easier. That is what this smart home thing is all about. And I think a really important thing is to keep it simple, because your smart home isn't meant to cause you a headache or be a hindrance to you. It's meant to help you out, it's meant to save you money, it's meant to make things easier. If I want to listen to music here, I can. If I want to turn those lights on when I'm in Spain, I can, in this house. Do you know what I mean? It makes things easier and it works really well. So that's what I've got going on, guys. I hope you have a good new year. I'm not sure when this video is going out, but yeah, my name's been Alex. This has been TechFlow, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.